What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Mekhi back in the building. Feel me? Now, today we have a reaction video why LeBron James is not the GOAT 2008. If you guys like what I'm doing, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Trying to hit 2,000 subs, so go ahead and get into it.
Because I'm one of those efficiency guys. Like, I hate going out there just chucking up shots.
Offensive players than Rondo and Perkins. Village screen.
You know, looking at the box score, and I was maybe 8 for 23 or 9 for 25 or...
The outlet to James, who has started 1 of 3 over Pierce for 2.
James for 3.
Approaching a minute to play in the first. Another screen. Pierce fights through it. LeBron for 2.
Yo, watch out.
Stay at home on LeBron James. Make him a jump shooter. Switch comes. Mo gives him a cushion. If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to beat me with a contested jump shot.
Like, being efficient, you know, is something I've always prided myself on.
When it comes to LeBron James' first stint in Cleveland, and really his entire pre-championship days, one of the go-to defensive LeBron James' era is saying, quote, he did not have enough help. And for the vast majority of NBA fans, that's the narrative they roll with. But looking more in depth at the Cavaliers during that time period, it wasn't always the help underperforming, and wasn't always the help not showing up. As looking at the NBA Finals versus the Spurs, LeBron in that series was simply abysmal. And despite his lackluster play, the series was still pretty close throughout. And like I say over and over again, it's not always the fact you lost, but how you lost. LeBron in that series, yes, wasn't the favorite, but he played so poorly, it's simply inexcusable. Now looking at 08 versus the Celtics, a very similar thing.
And the Cavaliers at one time narrowed it to 2. Here's LeBron James.
I mean, he's there definitely in the runaway train on the fast break standpoint, but offensively he's pretty predictable. You can kind of guess what he's going to do.
Love how Danny Ainge has built his bench here in Boston.
What is LeBron adding? Like, he's still the same player he was 3 years ago.
It's a great question, and I was just talking about this with somebody. The fact that he hasn't developed a post-up game yet is inexcusable.
On James, and now
that's a crazy shot.
For the 08 East Semis Boston vs. Cleveland, it's one of the most misremembered series in league history. As looking at LeBron games 1 through 7, he wasn't carrying this Cavs team, playing at some all-time great level the entire series. And actually, Cleveland's biggest weak point was LeBron James' outside game and his jump shot. As outside of fast break points, transition points, LeBron offensively was actually pretty easy to guard. And looking at game 1 in Boston, the first 3 quarters, it was just that. LeBron the first 3 quarters in game 1, 10 points, 9 turnovers, 1 for 10 shooting, 0 3 from deep, and from the line was pretty good. LeBron the first 3 quarters was an offensive no-show, and honestly, he was a net negative for the entire Cavaliers team. Now, for the pro-LeBron crowd says LeBron James just carried the Cavs every single game, if LeBron plays that poorly that bad, you see the Cavs, they're down by 20, 25 points, heck, even 40 points. In this game 1, that's not the case. LeBron having 9 turnovers being 1 in 10 shooting, the Cavs at that point only down by 1 point entering the 4th quarter. And looking at the 4th quarter, Cleveland down by 2 points, a chance to force OT and steal a game 1. But unfortunately, LeBron James turned in to LeBron James.
Timeout on the 20. Here's LeBron James against Pierce. Tough shot. Scooped up. Ilgauskas. James going strong. Tip up and in. Ilgauskas still have the foul to give. Ilgauskas setting a screen. James goes in. Misses the layup. You blew it!
So LeBron missing that game-tying layup, that was a huge miss for the start of the series. As a majority of times underdog teams, the game you gotta steal is game 1 on the opponent's home floor. And looking at LeBron in the 4th quarter, I mean, just an absolute terrible showing. 2 points, 1 of 8 shooting, did absolutely nothing. And the entire second half, it wasn't much better. 2 points, 6 turnovers, 1 for 12 shooting, 0 of 5 from deep, and his game score was negative 8.1. LeBron in game 1 wasn't below average, he wasn't bad, he was all-time historically terrible. And look at that turnover count. 10 turnovers in an NBA playoff game. At that point, tied for the most in league history. Until this day, it's the 3rd most in a playoff game all time.
28.
James losing the ball off the glass. It's a big team. It's a long team.
Mind you, LeBron has the most turnovers all time. Like all-time career turnovers. And I think after him is Russell Westbrook. But
the best in the league at offensive.
Trying to set the screen. Posey doing a great job on him. And they're going to call travel.
One-on-one.
Not a bad idea. Let James go one-on-one.
He's a pretty good player.
And off the hands of Varejao, because don't forget we have 7 new players on the roster this year. Poe makes 1 out of 2, and an over and back.
What's that smell? What smell? Ooh. You stink.
And here's the added layer of context. Yes, those guys in those games had 10 plus turnovers, but out of the entire bunch, only one guy shot worse in the field than LeBron James. That, of course, being Quinn Buckner, who was over 2 shooting, compared to LeBron James, who was 2 for 18. So right here, LeBron James, the combo of turning the ball over and shooting poorly, one of the worst games in league history. And with LeBron's legacy, it is never brought up, not once.
Erased from existence.
And to put this into perspective, looking at the Cavs' so-called bum squad, their leader in game scores are as follows. First, Big Z, 19.0, then Ben Wallace, Wally Szczerbiak, Daniel Gibson, Pavlovich, Varejao, Joe Smith, Delonte West, then LeBron James. LeBron of his own team ranked 9th in game score, dead last for the Cavaliers. In Michael Jordan's playoff career, his absolute worst playoff game, he was never dead last for his team in game score and not once in the negatives. LeBron in Game 1 accomplished both those feats. And with someone like Jordan the bar and the standard, LeBron in Game 1 fell woefully short. As looking at Jordan's pre-championship days, his lowest scoring game, 15 points. Worst shooting game, 30%. Worst game from 3, minimum 5 attempts, 20%. Worst game on 2s, 31%. Lowest game score, 8.4. And most turnovers, 8. In Michael Jordan's pre-championship career, those were his game lows, 85 to 1990. LeBron in Game 1 across the board was worse than MJ in all 6 categories.
Sorry.
So looking at Game 2 once again in Boston, LeBron in the first half, not much better, 3 of 13 shooting, really not doing anything. At this point, Big Z for the Cavaliers, their best scoring option, and honestly, their best player. And one of the big reasons LeBron played so poorly in Game 1 and the first half of Game 2, this guy in the first 6 quarters didn't make a single jump shot or a shot outside of 3 feet. And it wasn't until the third quarter of Game 2, he finally made a shot that wasn't a layup or dunk.
LeBron James, once again, a long night. 3 made shots, 10 missed shots, all from the...
I just think this is like a product of him being young. I mean, what was he? 18 coming in the league, 2003, so 2007. It's 4 years. He's like 20, 22. So, I said 22. It's a range of between 21 and 23-year-olds. So,
executing the game plan to a T. 5 for 31 in the series so far as he continues to struggle. With the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team with much more energy right now is the Celtics. West able to hold on, kicks it out, open 3. And LeBron James still has not hit a shot.
Man, that's probably like one of the worst ways to miss a shot is for the ball to go over. For the ball to go over the backboard.
2 easy baskets in transition. Get a timeout and talk about it. James knocks it down.
Now, LeBron being so bad in Game 1 of the Cavaliers still hung around. Game 2 of the second half, the exact opposite. Boston in the fourth quarter, up by 20 points, the game essentially over. LeBron at this point only had 15 points, another dud offensively. But in typical LeBron James fashion, his team down by 22 points, 24 points, some extra buckets and free throws to pad those numbers, make it look not as damning. Now, despite LeBron James adding on those stats, those garbage time numbers, that had no impact on the game, LeBron once again by game score wasn't the best player on his team, even second best, as once again Big Z and Wally Szczerbiak were the best players for Cleveland the first 2 games in Boston. and LeBron's game score was a pitiful 6.8 in Game 2. And look, for someone like Big Z at Games 1 and Game 2, he was the Cavs' best player. Did he was playing great? Not really. Why he was their best player per se is LeBron James was so bad. LeBron in Games 1 and Game 2 averaged 16.5 points, 8.5 turnovers, 19% shooting, I repeat, 19% shooting, didn't make a three, and the line was below average. LeBron the first 2 games in Boston had a total of 17 turnovers and 8 made field goals. And back-to-back games, historic playoff stinkers.
James with his first shot of the game, way off the mark. Perkins getting a little more physical now with Ilgauskas.
After what happened to him against San Antonio in the finals, I'm a little stunned that he is coming back with basically the same game. I mean, San Antonio, the Celtics are just following what San Antonio did.
For the last 7 points in this game, trying to take the lead.
Always look at the racket on a bad shot. I didn't understand that.
LeBron James.
How quiet it is at the Garden. James pulls back for 3 and still comes up empty.
Turn it off. Turn it off!
Now, once again, for some perspective, looking at Michael Jordan, out of his entire playoff career, 180 games, only one time ever did not crack 25% shooting. LeBron, the first 2 games in Boston, had done it in back-to-back games. And if you include 07 versus the Spurs, he'd already done it a whopping 3 times in his very young playoff career. And that's one thing I do want to harp on, LeBron's early career failing versus Michael Jordan's. Yes, both these guys for 7 years did not win a championship. But looking at LeBron's level of play and his losses, far inferior to Michael Jordan, even when he lost. As looking at Michael Jordan's worst game pre-championship was 8.4 versus the Knicks in 1989. LeBron from 06 to 08 had topped that mark a staggering 5 times. Twice versus the Spurs, twice versus Boston, and 1 time versus the Wizards. Now, looking at Game 3 in Cleveland, a must-win game for the Cavaliers they cannot afford a drop, as going down 0-3 the series is effectively over. And look at the first half LeBron James, I mean, not that great. 7 points, 2 turnovers, 2 of 6 shooting, and from the line, 50%. LeBron the first half, I mean, I guess a little bit better, but not much. The main story of the first half of the Cavaliers was Wally Zerbiak and Delonte West, who combined for 22 first half points. And the Cavs at one point up by 20, by halftime up by 17. Much like Game 1 in Boston, Game 3 in Cleveland, LeBron James offensively was pretty shaky, even a net negative. But the Cavs role players, the Cavaliers defense, kept them in the ballgame, and in Game 3, kept them up by above 15 points. And looking at the Cavs offense this game, a total of 108 points. In 2025, that number, nobody cares. 2008, that is a big time deal, especially versus Boston. As looking at this team defensively, only 3 times in the entire postseason they allow 100 plus points. Once versus the Lakers, once versus Atlanta, and this game versus Cleveland. In this Game 3 in Cleveland, none of the most points scored against Boston were the biggest loss of the entire playoffs, losing by 22 points, with LeBron James shooting 31% from the field.
James taking his time. West, the Varejao. Varejao even putting it in. Game as well.
Yeah, but this has a different feel to it right now. It just, the intensity level, the execution, the contributions by so many guys, it just has a different feel to it.
For the Celtics, Zerbiak going right at Ray Allen. And James getting a lot of help tonight. Again, ball movement. On their 17 field goals, they have 14 assists. And there's 8.5 minutes left in the half.
Wally Zerbiak 4 for 5. Joe Smith 3 for 3, and that's an important stat, Joe Smith. Anderson Varejao 2 for 3. This is the kind of LeBron James is the only Cavalier not above 50%. He is ruining the team's shooting percentage right now.
Lord.
Now, looking at Game 4 in Cleveland, kind of the exact same story. LeBron offensively, his jump shot still was not there. Boston was daring to shoot whenever they could. And LeBron in this game, 35% shooting, only 21 points. For superstar standards, that's really not great. Why Cleveland won Game 4 was due to their defense and not LeBron James, as LeBron, quite honestly, stood big.
I apologize for that.
Net negative, his jump shot simply was not falling.
And here, you know, we talked about him becoming a jump shooter. You see 5 Celtics back, and they're content with him just taking jump shots. Here it is again. We're going to lock in. We're going to bait him into taking these long jump shots. Again, back up off him 1-4 set, and all of a sudden it's a tough angles to pass at. Again, off the double, we're going to double team him off that, make him into a jump shooter.
It's not complicated.
So look, for LeBron's offensive arsenal, like I said earlier, in transition, an absolute beast. In the half court, above average, but not great. And for Game 4, LeBron James being pretty meh offensively, the Cavs in the fourth quarter defensively locked up Boston to 31% shooting.
For the Celtics, Varejao watching Garnett. 5 to shoot. Now the defense by Garnett. Here comes Pierce working on the mismatch of Delonte West. Rebound by Varejao.
A very tough shot.
They double Allen. Here's Garnett, only 6 points since the first quarter. Rajon Rondo picked up by Varejao, who now goes back on. Here's Gibson, a screen, and that was clogging up the defense by Rondo. Allen from Pierce over West. And the rebound, volleyball inside, picked up by Joe Smith. What'd you think, Doug?
I tell you, impressive defense, and I'm really impressed with Cleveland. Both these teams struggled so badly offensively. But what ended up happening tonight is Cleveland came up with the big plays when they needed it. And you know, Anderson Varejao and Joe Smith off the bench, what they did as big men in that fourth quarter. And the time.
Why don't nobody talk about this? And they be like, LeBron had no help, and like, he had some teammates. He had some guys. He had some guys.
Shooting by Daniel Gibson.
So that right there from these so-called bums, some pretty great play. And the series being tied 2-2, honestly, kind of a miracle. And looking back on it, if LeBron played halfway decent, even a little below average, the Cavs at this point play up 3-1 and control the series. But with LeBron playing so poorly, it's only tied 2-2. And look at his overall numbers. 18.8 points, abysmal. 5.8 turnovers, atrocious. 25% shooting, 25% from 3, and per line, sub 70%. If the Cavaliers supporting cast were so bad, so abysmal, these guys were absolute bums. How could LeBron play that bad versus the Celtics and still tied 2-2? The answer is quite simple. The Cavaliers weren't bums, and defensively, they were actually pretty elite. Now, once again, looking at LeBron's offense, again, games 1 through 4, abysmal. And compared to Michael Jordan, LeBron's overall efficiency was completely in the dumpster. LeBron 06-08, a 46-game sample size, games under 40% shooting, had amassed 21. Michael Jordan pre-championship, a larger sample size, only had 8 such games. Under 35% shooting, Jordan only had 4, LeBron 11. Games under 30%, Jordan had 0, LeBron had 5. Games under 25% shooting, Jordan had 0, LeBron James had 3. The point of that graphic is quite simple. It's showing LeBron James versus Jordan pre-championships. Yes, they both lost, but the way they lost was completely different. And for guys like Colin Coward, Shannon Sharp, even a Nick Wright, who are uber critical of pre-title Jordan, why for LeBron James the same scrutiny not applied? As looking at LeBron James, not only lost more, but played worse at a much higher rate.
Is that a fact? That's a fact.
Now, looking back at the Boston series in Game 5, a critical Game 5, either go up 3-2 or down 3-2, LeBron in the first half finally showed up, a game-high 23 points, the Cavaliers up by 3 at half. Now, for the third quarter, things really went south. LeBron in the third quarter only managed 2 points, and the Cavaliers had 17 in total, whereas Boston had 29, and in the fourth quarter, up by nearly 10 points. And I guess give LeBron James credit this game, 35 points, 48% shooting, only had 4 turnovers. For LeBron in this series, his first really great game and LeBron-esque performance. But the problem with LeBron right here, he is highly inconsistent. I was looking at Game 6 in Cleveland in the first half, classic old LeBron James, the same broken jump shot.
I just realized this is the series that everyone said that he gave up or through the series. I just realized that.
In the first half of this game, 13 points, 5 turnovers, 2 of 9 shooting, and from the line, 9 for 11. Now, LeBron being abysmal in the first half with 5 turnovers, the Cavs at the break actually up by 9 points. And they closed the first half, a 17-2 run with LeBron James doing very, very little. And here's the big story of the first half. Not LeBron's terrible offense, but the Cavs' great defense. Game 6 in Cleveland was an absolute slugfest, as Boston in the first half only managed 33 points.
Boston was supposed to come in and get this thing done, put Cleveland to sleep.
Well, we're looking good early. You know, we got a 6-point lead. The Cavs can't shoot straight. LeBron's 2 for 9. He's got 5 turnovers. And then the roof caves in.
Once again, a big free throw disparity, playing into something that you, Michael, mentioned a little bit earlier on the show.
Automatic part of
the travesty.
Advantage. It doesn't add up that Cleveland could be up 9. As much as they were outplayed throughout the first quarter and the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second quarter, here they are up 9. They're in control of this game, once again, the home team.
LeBron James came into this game shooting 31%, John, for the series. He should be hanging a help wanted sign on his back.
Oh, Lord.
For this Cavaliers team in 08, they're a very, very odd team. Offensively, very, very streaky and downright bipolar. But defensively, they nearly always bring it. And the Cavs at this point, that is their biggest strength, everyone overlooks. This Cavaliers team in the postseason, they ranked first in defensive rating, first in opponents' points per game, and top 2 in opponents' field goal percentage and opponents' three-point percentage. Again, this Cavs team's strengths were defense and rebounding. In the 2000s era, extremely valuable. And once again, looking at Boston in Game 6, they didn't surpass 50 points till 2 minutes in the fourth quarter of this game. Again, the Cavs defense, that was their strength and why they won games this series. And looking at Boston the entire playoff run, their lowest scoring game the entire run came in Game 6 versus Cleveland, where they didn't crack 70. And looking at their worst 8 games scoring-wise, 5 of the 8 came versus the Cavaliers. Now taking it one step further, looking at Boston's worst shooting games the entire playoff run. Out of their worst 8 games, half of them came versus the Cavaliers. And last but not least, Boston's worst offensive games based off offensive rating, out of their worst 8 games, 5 of them came versus Cleveland.
Coincidence? I think not!
In this very bizarre 2000s era basketball, an era I loved, defense really, really mattered. And having great backline defenders, great rebounders, that for any team was a must-have in this era. And the Cavaliers, they had that in spades. Looking at Ben Wallace, Big Z, and especially Verjao. Now, looking at Game 7 in Boston for this series, it is the only game ever talked about and mentioned when it comes to Cavs versus Celtics in 2008. As looking at LeBron in this game, for the first time all series, definitely carried Cleveland with 45 points. LeBron in this game for the most part was fantastic, but how he got here was a pretty rocky road, as LeBron's game 1 through 6, under 35% shooting, and 5.8 turnovers. If you want to say LeBron carried in Game 7, go ahead and say it, I'll actually agree with you. If you want to say he carried the entire series, the entire postseason, that is a blatant lie and factually false. Now, in regards to Game 7, LeBron playing great, his overall stats were off the charts. But here's where things get kind of murky. LeBron's numbers on point in the first half had 23 points. When the fourth quarter things got pretty tight, LeBron James kind of choked down the stretch, a fact nobody ever mentions.
Pierce is back on James with Posey on the bench now.
Oh, I know this play right here.
Shot clock down to 7. James to Pavlovich, into Wallace, back to James, a 3. Won't go, Picks finals. Pierce, House. Brown the jump shot, puts it in. About Rondo back in the ball game along with Posey. Defensive purposes, you need a stop. James, they get out of his hands. Delonte West, no good. Rebound, fought for, scrambled for. And Posey trying to get a head start. Ilgauskas on the second tip. Pierce comes up with it and calls timeout.
Yeah, but that's a mistake on James's part. That's a block out. He's got to know you've got the advantage on the jump. You know where they're going to try to tip it. You've got to hit Paul Pierce. Just like a defensive rebound, this has to be a block out. Pavlovich trying to do his job. Pierce, good strength. That's just a flat-out mistake by a guy having a tremendous game.
Pierce making his move. Finding Garnett. Garnett's jumper won't go. Rebound, LeBron James. minute to go. James looking on the drive, gets inside, tough shot, misses, and Garnett the rebound. Now they have to foul. Pierce ahead to Allen. They have to foul. And they're finally due.
So that right there, LeBron James in Game 7, do or die, under 2 minutes left, a complete and utter cluster. As LeBron in the final 2 minutes only managed 1 point, 0-3 shooting, and 1 for 2 on free throws. This right here is a classic case of a great game with a pretty suspect finish. Would I call it a bad game overall? No, I wouldn't. But how LeBron finished and closed and flat out choked, it matters as Game 7 in the context of this series.
And I'm not gonna lie, you could have a great game, and if you play terribly at the end, at the last couple minutes, you played horrible, it doesn't matter because you played horrible.
As once again, games 1 through 6, LeBron was abysmal. Look, when it comes to Cavs vs Celtics matchup, it was a very evenly matched series that went down to the wire. And looking back at games 1 and game 2, if LeBron played slightly better, the Cavaliers could have stolen one of those games and stole the series.
He ain't lying.
To give you guys some context in comparison to Jordan, only one time in his career ever was he below 40% shooting. That came versus Miami in 1997. LeBron in a 3-series stretch versus Spurs and Celtics shot worse than that, not once, but twice. Again, it's not always if you lose, but how you lose and how you go out swinging. When LeBron lost, he lost in embarrassing fashion, not only on the scoreboard, but also on the stat sheet.
The thing about it is, I don't even want to say that because people will say, "Oh, it's how they lose," but like LeBron lost in great fashion in 2018, and you know these are the same guys that would be like, "Oh, well he should have done better. He should have done better." Like they fought him in 2018 for losing. They fought him in 2015 for losing, and actually. People thought that he should have won Finals MVP in 2015 instead of Andre Iguodala. You know what I'm saying? You know, those are just 2 examples of like what he just said not being true. They still blame him even if he loses.
And look at someone like Jordan versus Bad Boy Pistons. Series losses they're held purely against Jordan and not his teammates.
And one more thing, like I'm gonna say that to the end of the video.
The Pistons, 27 points per game, 3.6 turnovers, 49% shooting. Compared to LeBron versus Boston, far superior stats. 89 versus the Pistons, the exact same thing. Higher scoring average, low turnovers, better shooting from the field by far. 1990, it's not even close. My point right here is pretty simple. Yes, MJ versus the Pistons was losing, he was falling short. But looking at his own individual play, compared to LeBron when he lost, he was far, far superior in all respects. And if you want to go game by game, looking at Jordan's duds versus LeBron's duds, again, LeBron far, far worse more often. As looking at Jordan versus the Pistons, only 4 times ever in a game was he below 40% shooting, twice in '89 and twice in 1990. LeBron James 07-08, a 17-game sample size, shot under 40% an astounding 9 times. And out of the bunch, 3 times was below 25%, something Jordan never did versus Bad Boy Pistons, an all-time great defensive team. And here's one last stat I will give you guys. Out of LeBron's 9 games below 40% shooting, the Cavaliers plus minus in those games was +6. Once again, showing the Cavs barometer wasn't LeBron's offense his shooting, what it was their defense. So that right there is the end of the video.
Here's the thing, man, like when it comes to superstars, you know, most of them usually get a pass in their early years of their career. If they played bad, if they lost, you know, if they didn't do well in their early stages of their career. Like, okay, Michael Jordan scored 63, but he lost. He was getting swept in the playoffs. Like, we're not going to just pass through that. Like, Michael Jordan was getting swept. I think he won 1 game against Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. And then they beat him in the first round. And then the second season, he got swept. And the third season, he got swept. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Michael Jordan didn't even play well after... People don't know this, but he scored what? I forgot how much he scored that first game against Boston when he was coming back from broken foot. Then he scored 63. The game after that, I think he had like 17 or 19 points. So I usually give people a pass when they're younger. But whenever where they have made it. Like, for an example, LeBron's second time when he made it to the finals, this is your second time here. You should already know the deal, what's going on. You have a supporting cast now. Everybody else except you performed. So that's my thing, you know? And this is just an example of him just being young. Just him just being young, and he played horribly. But he's just young. So, but I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Recommend some more videos you guys want me to see in the future. Until next time, man, I'm going to catch you.